In this video, we'll show you how to replace the front parking brake cable on your Ford F-150. This is located under the vehicle and goes up into the cabin. Let's get started. To remove our lower trim panel, we're simply going to pull up on the back side. We can start pulling up each clip. And we can set that off to the side. Now we can go ahead and remove our trim panel. This is also known as a kick panel. Just pop it out and work it around the hood latch. We can set that off to the side too. Now we need to release the tension on the cable. For this part, it's good to have an assistant help you. Have them pull down on the cable and you can install the pin. With the pin in, you can tell your assistant to release the cable, and we've detensioned the cable. We need to remove our electrical connector. To do that, we have a small tab on the top. I'm just going to use a small flathead screwdriver to press in on the tab. We have three 10mm bolts holding this whole bracket in. We can go ahead and remove those. One down bottom, another 10mm up top, and one towards the back of the vehicle. There's a small opening at the top of the parking brake pedal connector. I'm just going to use a small pick, push in on the tab. And pull out on the connector. Make sure you check the terminals for corrosion or damage. That looks okay. Now we can go ahead and detension the lever for the parking brake release. We can detach that from the release lever and then push in on each of the tabs. And fully release that cable. That'll allow us to get access in to the parking brake cable itself. We have a green tab right over the cable. We just need to bend that back in order to release the cable from the bracket. Got that a little bit up with a flathead. Get that tab bent up out of the way. And we can come down to the bottom of the cable, press in the tabs for the connector for the cable housing. Start working the cable up, get it in the correct orientation. And we can start feeding the cable down. Now we can just set the bracket off to the side for now. Now we need to separate the front portion of the cable from the rear. To do that, I'm just going to attach the rear portion of the cable to the chassis, to the frame of the truck here, with some locking pliers. Then you can use a punch to knock out the front portion of cable. Now there's a tab top and bottom on the plastic portion of the cable housing. You can push in on those with either a flathead screwdriver or some pliers. Press in on the tabs, pull the cable housing out. Now we can start pulling the cable out. We have a small grommet in the body. This sits under the wiring harness by the door. Just want to start pulling up on the grommet, get that worked out as you start pulling up on the cable. As you're pulling the cable through, it can help to feed it through from underneath. As you pull the cable out, you want to make sure that the grommet comes out with it. If it doesn't, you want to pull that out. Now we can start to feed in the cable. We're going to keep feeding this down. As we get towards the end, you'll need to feed the grommet underneath the wiring harness. Now as we feed the cable down, you need to make sure that the grommet goes under the wiring harness. That way it can go into the body. The grommet in and push it down. Make sure it's fully seated. Now we can install our cable into our brake pedal bracket, working the cable up back through the hole it came from. Now we can point the end of the cable towards the opening. Line up the cable with the top opening. Now that we have the cable on its lever, we can go ahead and install the pedal bracket. Now we have the tab that we flipped up before. We're going to go ahead and bop that down. I'm just going to use a punch and a hammer to do that. You just need to bend that tab down enough so that it holds the cable. get our pedal and bracket back up into position. Now we'll go around and snug each of these down. You want to be cautious though, as you don't want to over tighten these. Make sure that both the tabs pop out when you move the cable housing up, and install the plastic clip. Now with the vehicle raised and supported, we can go ahead and get our cable housing into its bracket on the frame. Make sure the tabs are fully set down. You can line up the end of the cable with the rearward cable, get it into its little bracket. And that'll be pretty hard to get set in by hand. We can go ahead and let the parking brake set it in itself. Get that cable installed. And we have the electrical connector for the brake, for the parking brake pedal. Make sure that's fully seated and won't pull back out. Now we can pull down on the lever for the parking brake release latch. We'll get the cable installed. Now we can go ahead and remove our dowel pin. We can reinstall our plastic trim pieces. The kick panel just pushes in straight towards the front of the vehicle. Make Make sure that's secure. We can put our door seal back. Press that all the way down. And we can reinstall the little bottom trim piece for the door. Just push in on each of the clips. Press in on the parking brake pedal. Make sure it holds the vehicle. Once you've depressed the parking brake pedal, make sure that the cables are fully set into the bracket. We have good tension. It's fully set in. We're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.